Different angle day, different angle day. Hello all, my name is Charlotte and welcome to Tail Inferno. So today we'll be talking about a linguistic theory about communicative competency and language games. So basically what that is looking at these theories of discourse about why we say the things we say them when we're doing particular things. So really the right word to say is activities. So this is from an article that I had to read called Activity Types and Language, and it's written by a man named Stephen Levinson. So what Levinson was trying to communicate in this text is the idea of the constraints that we face whenever we communicate with each other or speak with one another regarding the activity that we're doing and the activity type, discourse and communication, and the constraints that we have regarding language usage and our what activities infer when we take part in them. So the examples that are used in them to give you a bit more of an understanding of what I'm trying to communicate with you guys is let's say sport. So if you're playing a game of Australian football, so our AFL, there's particular language that is used on the field by umpires and people in the crowd. So, people really in the crowd will shout out "ball," which infers, that a player is holding onto the ball and the ball has spilled out in a way that it wasn't a proper handover of a ball. It wasn't proper disposal. There you go. I'm getting there. The language is there in my head somewhere, I just have to dig for it. You've got that language that you use within that game, but you wouldn't be saying, you wouldn't be going into a hospital and start screaming "ball" or holding the ball or out of bounds, nor would you just start screaming that on the street. People are going to look at you funny. People are going to think that there's something going on that they don't understand and that it's not a normal thing to be saying. So that kind of goes back to that other theory that I've explained in a text post about what is normal and what is abnormal in regards to language. That will probably be accepted within a crowd as long as that activity has been performed on the ground. So you can start screaming out "ball" if you know that the person's holding the ball. And I mean, sometimes you hear people scream "ball" when it's not even the case, and everybody will just get around it. So all in all, it's quite appropriate to say that. If you're an AFL player and you're on the field and you're playing with your team and you start screaming "holding the ball" in reaction to one of your own players holding the ball and not disposing it properly, you're probably going to get some interesting looks, and both the crowd, your fans and your teammates are going to look at you funny and be like, "Why are you saying that?" Whereas it'd be completely normal if you're on the other team and you say it to the opposing team player. So it's all about the activity specific language that we use. So this reading isn't just about communicative competency, but also about language games and participants and all sorts of different reasons as to why we say what we do when we do. Now, language games, if I look at my notes here, is defined by Levinson as to bring into prominence the fact that the speaking of language is part of an activity or a form of life. So the whole idea of that really is that everything that we say is part of an activity, and if we get it wrong, then we're losing the game. So we play a game every day, and we play multiple games every day depending on where we are and what is accepted and what isn't, what is normal and what isn't normal. It's something that we don't think about. It's something that's very subconscious to us. We don't think about what we're saying to other people, yet we know what the appropriate language is. And if we don't know what the appropriate language is, then we're not really playing the game. Which is actually really, it's quite an interesting thing to think about, because again, you don't think about it. He also goes into another theory, which is by Paul Grice. So he's a British philosopher of language, and he was a British philosopher of language. And if you have heard of it before, there are these maxims that are called Grice's maxims, and there's 4 of them, and they cover what ensures communicative competency. So again, it's a subconscious thing, but there is a theory behind it, which again makes it really interesting, and I can't explain to you just how interesting and exciting it is, and how it blows your mind when you start thinking about these language theories, because again, I will reiterate, you don't think about them when it happens. It's amazing what we can do without thinking about it. So if you think that you don't have any talents, just know that you have the talent to communicate in so many ways. It's unbelievable. Anyway, going back to the maxims, but there's 4 of them. So you've got the maxim of quantity, which is about the amount of information you give and not going over or under in regards to giving out the information, providing that information. Then you've got the maxim of quality, which is about being truthful and making sure that there's no false information in what you're saying. So basically not lying or providing information that you don't know a lot of. The third maxim is the maxim of relation, which is all about relevance. So making sure that what you're saying is actually relevant. And then last but not least is the maxim of manner. So manner is about ensuring that you're not obscure or ambiguous. So ensuring that what you're saying makes sense. So this reading really goes into, you know, what it means to be competent in communication. And again, it is absolutely mind-blowing to think that there's these different theories of language that are out there that explain to us why we say what we say and what we do. Anyway, that's what this whole information was all about. I hope you find it interesting. I can't believe that I can sit here and say all this stuff to you, and yet there are so many cogs turning in regards to the language that I choose and how you understand it. I mean, it's just me sitting in this room at the moment, so people walking past my window or something might think it's weird that I am communicating really to myself in this room, but you guys are active in regards to the audience out there. There could be one of you, there could be thousands of you, there could be no one, which would be quite sad, but nonetheless, you know, I am imagining that there are people out there that are listening to this, and I'm communicating in a way that is hopefully competent to what I am speaking about. I am being an educator, and therefore I am trying to educate you. I mean, it just blows my mind. So I hope that this has educated you and enlightened you to this whole other nature of speaking. I really like the idea of, you know, language games and having the proper idea of the rules of the game. And, you know, you hear about it in lots of medieval talk or even political talk about, you know, the game. And no, I'm not talking about the game in regards to we've all lost the game because we've just thought of it, ha ha ha, old school, ha ha. And the fact that we play a language game every day, depending on what we're doing, is unbelievable. And it could not just be in the way that we say things verbally, it could be what we write on a page, it could be how our body language is interpreted. It's just things like that, and it's so subconscious to us, and it's just, I love it. And I hope that you do too, and I hope that you can understand this excitement and this awesome thing that we have. As I said before, it, you know, if you ever feel like you are, you know, not good at something, or you're just feeling that you don't have a talent, just know that as human beings, we are so talented in the kind of language and the kind of way we communicate. Just things like that is just absolutely awesome. And I cannot express it enough. And I hope that that, I suppose, makes you a bit happy, because I know it makes me happy. So yeah, that's it for today. I hope you really enjoyed listening to me blabber on about communicative competency and language games and other theories that have just popped into this conversation. And yeah, if you really liked it, you know, subscribe, give it a like. I'll probably talk more in future about linguistic theories that I learn. So if you're interested, give Tail Inferno a subscribe, or follow and like on the social media pages, which you can see in the link below. You can also have a look at the website by clicking on the link below. Thank you so much for watching. I absolutely love talking to you guys and educating you guys on these very exciting concepts. I hope you go out there and ignite the story, and I'll see you next time. Bye!